It buries itself in the sand to stay cool, says Mom. Pete wishes he could be cool. He decides, he's so uncool. He decides to get his feet wet. Ah, thinks Pete. The water does feel pretty good on my hot feet. It's time for lunch. Bob swims in from the ocean to join Pete and his mom. They eat sandwiches and drink cool lemonade. The sun is very strong. Pete is dry and hot, but Bob is wet and cool. It is so fun out there, says Bob. I must have surfed 100 waves. After lunch, Pete asks Bob to play catch with him. No thanks, says Bob. I want to surf. I'll play ball with you, says Pete's mom. They toss the ball back and forth. They get hotter and hotter in the sun. Let's get our feet wet, says Mom. Okay, says Pete, but just our feet. The water is cool. It feels good. Pete gets a little brave and goes deeper and deeper into the water. He's got fish on his swimming trunks. Curiouser and curiouser. Bob waves to Pete. Swim out here so I can teach you how to surf, Bob yells. Pete thinks about saying maybe later, but the water feels so good. Let's do it, he says. Lie on the board, says Bob. Pete lies on the board. Paddle your paws in the water, says Bob. Pete paddles forward. He waits for a big wave. A big wave comes Pete's way. Stand up, says Bob. Pete stands up, but he wobbles. It is hard to stand up on a surfboard. Pete falls in the water. It was a little scary, but it did not hurt. He climbs back onto the surfboard. Good job, Bob says. But I fell down, says Pete. That's okay, says Bob. You'll stay on next time. Try again later. But Pete doesn't want to wait. Let's try again now, he says. Pete lies down again. He paddles out and waits. Here comes a big wave, he shouts. I know what to do, Pete thinks. He stands up on the board. It's a little easier this time, and he rides the big wave. Wow, says Bob. Way cool, little brother. See how supportive. Whose older brother has ever been as supportive as Pete the cat's older brother? For the rest of the day, Pete and Bob share the surfboard. It's okay to be afraid, says Bob. Yeah, agrees Pete, but it is more fun to surf.